guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm not quite sure what episode this is. I believe it's 13. We're getting up in numbers and it's getting a little bit confusing for me. But we have another raw carnivore guest, and this is Gwenny. And Gwenny, how did you come across carnivore?
Sure. Okay. I'm gonna take you way back. I've always been a little bit like on the chubbier side. I was pretty athletic growing up. Mom always had me in sports, and I remember seeing all my friends kind of slim out around the same time, and I was like, why is this not happening to me? And just kind of, I got older. Once I started university, like you get the freshman 15, I ended up getting like the freshman 80. I was like on the loose, and I was like pizza every meal, which is like cool for a week, and then you're like, But so it just kind of built up over time. And in my 20s, I had quite a bit of trauma. And I, like most people, turned to food for that. And it became my comfort food. And so around, I would say by 2019-ish, I was almost 200 pounds. And I'm 5'4". So like that was just it was too heavy for my frame and too heavy for my body. And my mom, like, she was always a very health focused, and eating healthy was like her thing. And over the years, she like tried her best with me. Like, I was vegan for 13 years. I thought I was doing myself some good, kept gaining weight for about 2 or 3 years before 2019. I looked into keto, started doing that, was still gaining weight. I, at some point, was working out up to 2 hours a day, which is like actually insane. Literally nuts. And that became like an eating disorder in itself, right? And I wasn't losing weight. And I was like, there's got to be something wrong with me. We checked my thyroid, nothing. But I had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I was pre-diabetic, acne, joint pain. Like, it was just unlivable. And I was like, am I doing keto wrong? Like, what is happening? So I tried the egg fast, and I did that for like a month, and I started losing weight. And I was like, like, why is like this working? And then I looked more into it, and I saw a lot of people jumping off into carnivore. And so it was around 2019 where I was like, okay, like maybe I'll just try it and just see what happens, give it a go. And so I did it for about a month, and I dropped like 15 pounds pretty quickly, which was incredible. I was like, whoa, like this is awesome. Still working out a ridiculous amount. But so about a month and a half in, I was like, okay, I'm going to try reintroducing some veggies. Like, I miss mushrooms. I miss lettuce. Like, I'm going to have like a salad with some hamburger in it. I didn't use sauce. Like, and like immediately 15 minutes later, my joints inflamed. Like, I couldn't walk up the stairs. My knees were so big. It was crazy to me. I was itchy all over, and I was like, wow, like there's something there. And I just haven't looked back, and I have just stuck the course of carnivore. In the process, convincing my mom, who had a host of issues, to go carnivore. But raw carnivore, maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, I think, is when I started like looking a little bit more into it, because I liked my steaks pretty rare. Like, they were pretty rare. And then I just one day was like, what if I just like didn't cook it? And I didn't cook it, and I ate it, and I felt so good. Like, I just felt unbelievably amazing. And I kind of haven't looked back. I have had raw chicken, which I had to be in the mood for. Like, it wasn't like an everyday thing. Like, I just one day was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna do it, whatever. If I get salmonella, like the ER is right there. It's all good. Like, but nothing happened. And I did it multiple times and I just never got sick. And I was like, okay, interesting. I've tried raw pork. I don't really like pork to begin with. But again, didn't die. Still here. And like I was watching that guy who was doing the raw meat experiment where he was like literally sitting there and eating raw chickens in front of Whole Foods. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's on Instagram and he's not like, it was crazy.
Is he pretty young?
Yeah, I think so.
Is he Australian?
I have no idea. I was just like amazed that he would be sitting there just like eating a raw chicken in front of Whole Foods, like no shit's given. Just, I was like, what? And so like that kind of eased me. I was like, you know what, if he's able to do this and he hasn't died, then and then of course fish, I'll do raw. I prefer raw fish. I can't when it's cooked. I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that. I don't like cooked fish.
No, I'm just like, this is not great. So yeah, so if I do have chicken or turkey or whatever, it's pretty rare now. I think like most carnivores, you kind of just phase out of it. Like it's not as appealing. I live in the pretty high north. Like I'm in Yukon, Canada, I'm like just kind of below the tree line. And so, and I've lived above the tree line. So there's no trees and it's like 24 hours of darkness for 8 months of the year. And it's interesting. The only times I've ever really been interested in chicken is when we do get the sun or when we do have the hotter months. And I don't know if it's because it's a leaner meat that my body is like, you don't need as much fat. But in the winter, when we have the 24 hours of darkness, that's all I want is I just want to eat pounds of suet. And I just gravitate towards beef. So that's been interesting. And that's a really cool side note that I'm sure there's science behind it. But yeah, so I don't really touch much other than like lamb or beef, bison, caribou, and that's all raw. I do cook the fat because I like the crunchy fat. I like when it's all crunchy and like warm and melty. And I eat a lot of liver, which I know is like the recommendation is not to eat too much because like vitamin A and all that. I haven't died yet, and I eat it almost every day, so I'm alive. My blood works fine. But that I will cook. That I'm not there yet with raw. Although you know what, like I'm sure it's great. But in terms of benefits of raw, I don't feel heavy after a meal. Like I'm not like, I don't get that like the meat sweats, like that meat exhaustion, which is so real. I feel like I digest it faster. Obviously I produce less waste. Yeah, it seems to be working for me. I mean, I ended up losing, I'm probably down close to 90. I have lost weight recently just with the passing of my mother because I'm like El Depresso, but yeah, I'm not eating as much. I don't have that like constant, like the food thoughts where I'm constantly thinking like, I'm hungry, but I can't eat, which is really nice. I still exercise every day, but that's more for like the mental health sides of things. But like if anything, I don't go past an hour. So it's like I've lost kind of that almost disordered mindset where if I don't work out for X amount of hours, I'm not going to lose weight. And of course, everything else is healed. Like I still get acne. I guess that's me. But my skin is so much clearer. I don't get joint pain or knee pain. I do a lot of weightlifting and I don't get that muscle soreness after. It's like, I'm not thinking about, I can't eat this much. I just eat till I'm full, and move on with my day, which is like after almost 30 years of, well, I guess I wasn't when I was like 10, but after so many years of constantly wondering like why I wasn't thin enough or why I wasn't losing weight, that is kind of gone from me. In the process, we discovered that I have PCOS. And when I spoke to a naturopath, I was like, this is what I've suspected all my life because of where I would gain the weight, how I had such irregular menses. We did some testing, and my blood work, even though I've been carnivore for 6 years, similar to diabetics. And they were like, oh, you definitely got some like insulin stuff going on. And I'm like, for sure. And they're like, but that's why carnivore works for you.
Hyperinsulinemia.
Yes. Yeah. And so they were like, that explains like the polycystic side of things. That explains like why you were losing hair, why you had all this acne, why you were having like 9-week long periods. And they're like, you kind of figured out on your own. And I was like, that's what I've been telling you people. But yeah, once I found that missing piece and I just kind of got rid of the glucose completely, other than what's in fish and liver, because it's naturally occurring. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of my story, I guess.
I like your story. Okay, so I have a couple of questions. You did an egg fast for a whole month.
A whole month.
Of just eating eggs?
Just eggs and a bit of butter.
And like, did you like really drop weight? Like, was it hard?
Nope. So like side note, I'm autistic. So when you eat the same meals every day, it's very like easy.
Yeah.
Right? I like the pattern. I like the constant sameness and the ease of it. And so eating carnivore, eating the egg fast, eating the same thing every day is fine for me. So I'm kind of lucky in that sense because I know a lot of people are like, you can't eat the same thing every day. I'm like, but you can. And it works. But initially I was like quite hungry at first. I was like, oh, I want 10 more eggs. But no, I think I was also just like so excited for the first time in my life to actually be seeing results that I was like, fuck it, or whatever. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear on this. But that's where I was at. I was like, you know what? It's working. I'm not going to stop. And so for a long time, I kept eggs in my rotation, but I've just kind of like, I think I'm burnt out on eggs a couple of years ago. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I get like that with steak now because I did line diet for a while and now I'm like, steak? No, let's eat some bacon.
Yes. Yeah, I get into that. I'm like, I'll eat the same thing. And then I'm like, wait. Yeah.
I'm with you on the like eating the same thing every day. I don't think I could do eggs. I have to have a little bit of variety, but like I'll get into like almost moods where I'm like, okay, here's what I'm eating for breakfast. Or if I kind of switch up how many meals I'm eating, like,
yeah,
just depending. So some days I'll do one meal, like it'll be like a month I'll do OMAD, and then another month I'll do 3 meals, whatever, just depending on how I'm feeling. But I'll get into moods where I'm like, okay, I made carnivore ice cream with raw egg yolks, and I cannot go out to eat. And if somebody's like, let's go out to eat for dinner, you know, to a steakhouse or whatever, I get like anxiety. I'm like, but I can't eat my ice cream.
Yeah,
and it's like, people don't understand like that kind of just like anxiety, like when plans change, it's like the end of the world, and like I just like want to curl up in a ball and die.
Yes. Okay. That is so relatable in every part of my life, but especially around food. And like, food is such a big part of most cultures. We celebrate with food. We mourn with food. We just go hang out with friends and we get food. And it's especially hard when you're carnivore because you're not eating the seed oils. And like, it's rough finding restaurants that don't use seed oils. Or like, I went to a steakhouse when I was like visiting Southern Canada, and I asked them like, what do you cook your steak in? Think, this is a high-end steakhouse. I'm like, I'm a splurge, whatever, let's go. And they were like, oh, well, it's canola oil. And I'm like, could you not? And they're like, well, we can clean the grill. And I'm like, can you just like find a new way for me? Like, so it's constantly having to like special request things, and you're wondering while you're eating it, like, did the kitchen what actually happened back there? I'm really lucky that where I am, we have like a barbecue place, and they cook everything in its own juices, which is amazing because I can actually like go out with friends and like experience that. Otherwise, it's sushi because at least I can trust the raw fish. But like, yeah, it's weird, or at like family meals and gatherings and stuff like that. Or I'm a teacher, and so I teach high school, and like food is the biggest motivator for my teens. If I bring in pizza, they're like, hell yeah, like I'll sit and listen all day. And I can't have it. Or like staff meetings, I can't have it. So like there's a lot of navigating the social side of things. But I mean, how long have you been carnivore now?
15 months.
Okay. So around, I would say like maybe 2.5, 3 years for me. I kind of stopped seeing not meat as food.
Yeah.
And so now when I look at it, I'll like see a banana and I'm not like, banana. I'm like, it almost doesn't even appeal to me as food. Like I don't register, which is nice. But it's interesting because this way of eating is so much more controversial than being a vegan. And having done that and like been on the other side, people are way more accommodating. Like, I don't eat animals. Whereas if I'm like, no, I just don't eat like anything but meat, they're like very confused by it. And, like, I can't be healthy. And like, I mean, like I live somewhere where 8 months of the year, like this is probably the most south I've worked, but 8 months of the year we get total darkness. We get maybe a bit of dust for an hour or two. And my vitamin D levels, every time I get them tested every winter, are above the normal range. And the doctors are like, how are you doing this? And I'm like, I'm not supplementing it. Like, this is just how I eat. So, I mean, if that's not a testimony in itself to this way of eating, right? Whereas on the opposite end of the spectrum, when you're supplementing, like, God, I was taking every vitamin under the sun.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't have a problem personally going to most restaurants because I just tell people I'm allergic to everything, and they tend to believe me because, like, you'll say you have, like, a ton of autoimmune diseases, and with that, like, if you're already, like, autoimmune disease, you're allergic to anything anyways. So I'll be like, I'm allergic to corn, I'm allergic to dairy, I'm allergic to, even though I can actually do dairy. But who knows what's in the dairy? Like, unless you source it yourself, you don't know.
It's true.
And I'm allergic to seasonings, and even though I use my own seasonings, I know what's in them. The ones you get at the restaurant, you don't know. But the only time that I've had trouble is when I'm going to like a Mexican restaurant or a hibachi restaurant, which I can get sashimi at, and I tell them, hey, I'm allergic to all of this. Don't put sauce. Don't even put salt on my food. And then I've had them like smother my steaks in teriyaki sauce, and I cried. I literally cried. I was like, I want to just choke you out so bad right now. How do you? And it's not even like these people don't speak English. Like, they're fairly well speaking English. And I'm like, this could get me killed if I was severely allergic to this. And people, they don't take food safety seriously. And the only time that it's really not aggravated me was I was at a Mexican restaurant, and I went with one of my carnivore friends, and we both got the same thing, except hers had like, she's more keto, so hers had like vegetables on it. But we both got it without beans and without chips because we just got the nachos and like took everything off of it to where it was just the meat. And we told them we were allergic to corn and that we couldn't have chips. Well, this poor girl did not speak any English at all. So what we got was nachos with extra chips and extra beans and no cheese. So that was definitely, I felt bad for the poor girl because we made her take our food back. But like, I get so frustrated with these places, not at the workers necessarily, but like, what if I had been like so severely like anaphylactic shock allergic to beans, got into food, ate into beans, not realizing that the beans were on there, and like died? Yeah.
It's yeah, it's very interesting. I'm like, I know, because you're down in the States, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know like all of the stuff going on with like your nutrition programs and like the health programs. And I'm not getting political here, but like it's a little bit chaotic down there anyways, and I feel like there's just so much going on, and like even you guys get like your candy bars and like your different snacks and stuff have food dyes that are like illegal in Europe and Canada, which is like crazy to me. I'm like we share a border. Why are our foods so like wildly different that way? So like it's unbelievable to me that like it's no wonder that there's an obesity epidemic in the Western
Mhm.
world, especially in the States. Like nobody's checking out what's going on in your foods. Like
Yeah. And I think further than that, it's not just an obesity epidemic, it's a sickness epidemic. I mean, they recently opened in Nashville a child diabetes hospital specialized in children's diabetes recently. And that's crazy. Like, why are our children so sick that we need our own specialized hospital just for type 2 diabetic children?
I know it's well, it's crazy, right? And we see the rise of all diseases just kind of going up and up and up, and it doesn't help that like the economy is in the toilet and the cheaper food is the shitty food, right?
Mhm.
And so when people, especially like when you're in the high north where I am, right, like if you think Alaska type stuff, like our stuff's more expensive,
Yeah.
right, like in general. So when I see family shopping in the grocery store, I'm like I get it. I like it's a struggle up here. Like they did our like living wage recently, and it was like people aren't making enough basic income to even cover rent. So if it's cheaper for me to buy 12 bags of chips over lettuce, what am I buying, right? But that's causing so many other issues. And the Western world is not preventative. We're not a preventative medicine forward type of people. We're like, okay, you've got this, so let's fix it with another issue, which is like fine if you're in Canada because a lot of our medicines are so covered by insurance that it's, you know, I can go to the hospital, everything's free. Not that our health okay, so our healthcare is not great, but that's a good part, right? Like I don't want to be like our healthcare is just better because we have our own serious healthcare issues. But like it's even harder when you're in places where you're so sick because of what you're eating, but that's all you can afford, that you have to take a ton of medicine to help what you now have, and it's overpriced and you're getting gouged by doctors who are getting kickbacks from certain like pharmacy companies. Like it's scary and it's sad, and like it's not right, you know. Healthcare should be universal, and it's if I think we just kind of worked more towards preventative care and like, you know, put the shit down, stop eating like crap and just do this for yourself, like it would alleviate so many things, right? Cancers, it would alleviate the diabetes. And we know insulin is the driver for 99% of things, right? Alzheimer's, we know that higher sugar levels and insulin levels do lead to the cancer. So like there's so much science behind it, but it's just because it can't make money, it's not going to change. I think with RFK, I mean, you've got some kooky ideas, like autistic camps. That's neat. You can just toss me in. Cool. But like, I think he has the right ideas around like changing the food guide and like looking at who is on the board of like Hershey's and who are getting kickbacks from the certain agricultural groups, and that's why they're in the food pyramid, you know. And so I think he started an interesting conversation that has been part of the carnivore circles for a while. But again, like I mean, that's one thing. Like I don't want to be like he's great because he's definitely I'm out of politics. It's not my country, but like those are things we need to be asking as a society. It's like why is the American Diabetic Association getting kickbacks from Hershey. Like, that's fact.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And honestly, to me, it kind of all takes back to like the Rockefellers and all of those people who like rule. Like, he even said he wanted to make a generation of workers, not free thinkers. So, like, okay, if you're working in corporate America or just corporate anywhere, I'd say corporate America because America's probably the country filled with the most amount of corporate jobs, right? You're working a 9 to 5, you're inside under fluorescent lights all day.
Yep.
So that's one thing screwing up your health. Next, you're staring at a screen all day, working on your computer, writing emails. You're not doing anything to release healthy dopamine for your brain. And then you don't make a livable wage, so you go home to your mold-infested apartment, which is also very bad for your health, and then you eat ramen noodles. So I'm like, how we're living in a generation of people who don't even have the energy to look forward to make their health better. They're so sick, they don't have any hope. They don't know how to look for hope, and it's like so sad. And this is why I do what I do because, and I don't say this a lot, like I probably should, but like who's gonna be in 30 years the people who are in charge of our healthcare? It's gonna be my generation or the generation below us. It's not gonna be your generation or the generation above you, and it's up to your generation to teach our generation so that we can learn everything. And adults don't, I mean, kids don't listen to adults, but there's going to be a time when they realize, hey, mom or grandma or Aunt Kathy was right. And that's why I try and speak so much, because if they're like, oh, my aunt does that, but I know a 16-year-old who does that too, maybe they'll open their eyes a little bit more to it. Yeah, and I just want to know, like, you're up in Canada. I know everything is more expensive over there, first of all. How do you source meat that you trust eating raw?
Yes. Okay, so I have had grocery store meat raw. I haven't done it. I'm not saying everyone should go do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I firmly, so I work primarily in First Nation communities, and so right now I'm in a capital city, so it's there's much more diversity and more options for stores and stuff. But when I was in the remote fly-in communities, and it was like the only white people were like the doctors or teachers or our CMP, like our police. And so I was able to go out on hunts with locals, and they would like teach me how to process the animal and like what parts of the animal to eat, what you should eat raw, what you can't eat raw. And that was really cool to learn about firsthand, especially because like when you're working with First Nation communities, they're very spiritual about the animal, and it is a gift that you are able to eat this animal. And so there's a lot of respect and just appreciation for what you've been given. And so once that's how I kind of got into eating meat. I now that I live in a capital, we do have farms, which is crazy to me. Like even my friends back, like they're in Toronto, Ontario, and they're like, "You have farms in the Yukon?" And I'm like, "Yes, we do actually have farms." So I get locally sourced meat, and I also know that way, like that animal was raised well, and like given the love and respect that it deserved growing up. Like I've gotten to meet my cows before they've been sent to slaughter, which is kind of morbid, but also cute. You're like, oh, I'm going to eat you and you're going to be yummy. So like I get really close to the farmers, and I get to watch the animals grow, and that's how I eat my meat, which I've done the math. At this point, it's about as expensive as like our local grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like I'm getting better meat. It tastes better. It looks better. Now when I go and see grocery store meat, I'm like, why is it that color? Like it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, sourcing, I try to stay as local as possible. And like, that's for health reasons, but it's also just like a respect thing, because even though I'm not vegan anymore, I also like it. The whole factory farming is so icky to me, and the way those animals are like treated. I'm like, oh, like I know, animals are here for food, but also like they're alive. So
Yeah, I work in livestock, so PETA has got it so wrong. Like, really, the reason why we started pasteurizing milk in the first place was because in the UK, these cows lived in concrete buildings that were up to their udders in manures, and the cows were so sick, and then, the milk smelled bad because the cow was sick. So they would pour bleach and chalk into the milk to make it smell better, and that's why they had to pasteurize it to make it smell better too. And that's why we pasteurize milk. But nobody realizes that our FDA has so many standards on how these cows have to live in America to be producing milk and it for sale as pasteurized is fine. Like, yeah, maybe it's not optimal for the cows, to be in a concrete building, but those concrete buildings are actually very well kept. The cows are very well kept. And, for smaller poultry, that's kind of where we get into more issues is with like chickens. That's a really big issue, but like rabbit farming, it's super good. I've never even had rabbit, but I know a lot of people who farm rabbits, and like these rabbits just they eat hay all day. They live in like 10 by 10s with like 5 of them in there, so it's a large area, you know. And I know with like sheep and goats, we don't even eat those a lot over here, but they're all well taken care of. The easiest way to take care of an animal is to not take care of it. And that sounds so awful, but it literally just throw it out in a pasture and it's going to have better overall health than something you keep in a stall and try and make sure it has the right mix of hay and this and that and boom. Yeah. But I don't know how it is in Canada, and I don't really know how it is anywhere else.
yeah, I don't know, but I do know that the meat tastes better, and I'm about it.
Yeah, well, also one of the things about eating locally is you're eating cows who are eating the same bacteria and microbes that you're already exposed to,
Yeah,
especially if you're eating raw. So your gut's already used to those bacteria and those microbes, and it's something your gut already knows how to break down and use for good. So if you're sourcing meat from Brazil and you live in Canada, like your gut's gonna be like, oh, what the heck? Like that's new.
yeah. It's actually an interesting point. Two interesting things. So my mom was back in Ontario, which is completely different. So Ontario is Eastern time, and I'm Yukon has its own time, but I'm Alaska, right? So quite a distance, and she would get from a local farm, and it tasted completely different to me.
Mhm.
Two
Yeah.
completely different tastes. Like it was so interesting, and they were both yummy, but it was just different. But the other point is, I think so. Since going carnivore, and I used to be the kind of person that was always sick, always.
Mhm.
Since going carnivore, I've had exactly one sickness. So that's 7 years ish. Um, yeah, I've been sick once, and it was COVID, but it was like I got COVID in 2023. So it was like not even like real COVID. Nobody was even getting COVID anymore. But I was working in an elementary school, and so I just blamed the snotty children. Because, but yeah, I don't get sick at all, which is really great because being
Yeah.
sick.
Mhm. So you said you still get acne, and I just kind of want to ask, like, is it just little pimples here and there? Like, what is it?
Yeah, like I got a little baby pimple right here right now coming in. Um, but so like it used to be like super deep blackheads, a whole bunch of blind pimples, whiteheads. I was on, I think it's illegal in the States now, but I was on something called Accutane when I was a teenager.
Yeah, we still have Accutane.
Yeah. Okay. So I know it's illegal somewhere. And so I was on that, which is a pretty powerful drug, right? Like I had to sign a waiver saying I wouldn't get pregnant. So my acne was obviously bad enough, right? But Now here and there I get like little pimples, but those are from like old blackheads surfacing because those blackheads were just so deep. And I am of the generation where we caked on we were so emo. We were wearing so much makeup. It's like what a look that was. But like it's just some of that. I think just the years of like taking it on, and like if you think like Kim Kardashian in like 2010s, like that's what we were doing, and that's not good for your skin.
No. Mm-mm. Yeah, I can't put anything on my skin, like, at all. Like, even, like, I do use beef tallow and coconut oil, but even then, like, that'll give me blackheads sometimes because it's just so oily.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So I want to ask what you do for skincare now, because I've met a lot of carnivores who are like, oh, I just do normal skincare, and then they're like, I don't use anything on my skin. So.
Oh no, I'm skincare queen. I love it. So there's the brand The Ordinary, and like their stuff is it's so affordable. Like I don't own stocks, like I'm not pumping them up here, but it's just affordable. Like I can get a vial of serum that lasts me 3 months for $8, and that's so good. But like I'm just using like salicylic acid, hyaluronic acid, for the most part. Just peptides like that.
Yeah.
It's like as clean of skincare that I can get that way. But that's just because I like the way it feels as well. Whereas I'm sure like if I did nothing, it would still be fine. But I definitely pay more attention to my skincare. And yeah, I just try to go as like strict as possible with kind of just the acid itself or just the serum itself. And it works for me, so I'm not gonna not use it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of like hair care for me is like I don't use any like conventional products, but I'm like I started using minoxidil because I had extensions in my hair and they ripped like bald spots in my hair.
Oh,
There's such small, like I put them in myself, but I'm like my aunt is a hairstylist, my cousin is a hairstylist. Like I grew up in a salon. I know how to do this, okay? Like I know how the things work. I know how much hair to put in there. I know how to not get my hair ripped out, but I think it was really just my hair is like my scalp was really sensitive, so just the tension of it, not the fact that it was like too heavy, but just having something on my scalp constantly was irritating it, and it was only like one spot. So the row that I had right here was the only spot that was ripping out hair. The rest were fine, but I was like, I'm gonna just take them all out, and that's what I did.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
But like, God, I feel so bald without them that like.
Yes, I'm like I don't have like I didn't lose a lot of hair. I was really mostly just concerned about it continuing to rip out hair. But like I feel bald now because my hair was like 20 inches long. It was thick, and I have pretty thick hair. It's curly. It's thick. It's not curly right now, but it's like really curly. It's because I dried it, and it's so frizzy when I dry it. You see? It tangles so bad too. It's because I used to bleach it, so like I think from like probably like here down it's like been dyed like 20 different times.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, you can. It's fried galore.
Yeah, that's maybe. Yeah. But you know what? We've all been there. Like you got to go through that stage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've always used henna, like now especially, but before then, when my hair was red, because I used to have red hair. That's what I used, and it worked great, and it didn't damage my hair. But then I was like, oh, I want to be blonde. So I bleached it out, and henna, the bleaching is the same amount of damage it would be to bleach your hair. It just takes more to get the henna out since it binds to your keratin. So it takes more to bleach your hair from henna than to just bleach like naturally black hair. But I had dyed my hair a bunch of times before I did the henna too. So I kind of screwed up my hair a little bit. I really didn't have that much fallout, but I think just over time, and I was heat styling it a lot. It's like now, like when it gets wet, it's stretchy. Like,
Yeah.
this much of it is stretchy, but it's, like, not falling off, so.
So it's a win.
It's not falling out. And I've, like, talked to somebody, and she has, like, super long hair. She's like, it's so weird that your hair's stretchy, but I don't have any split ends right now. Like, it's all, like, if I were to, like, flat iron it, it would feel, like, super soft and super nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, okay, it's stretchy, but, like, what about it?
What about it?
It's okay. Yeah, I miss my extensions, but at the same time, I was like, them things itched so bad.
I know, like, I'm sitting there and I'm, like, slapping my head. I'm like, it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah, it's too overstimulating for me, and I like having that much hair. And I think I did good because I got the ones that were like individually on like on little pieces of hair like this, so they weren't wet. But even still, not being able to just run my fingers all the way through my scalp without snagging on something was like so irritating for me.
You know, my mom was always like, does it not bother you? You can't run your hands through your hair. I'm like, no, I just don't touch my hair, Mom. I'm just trying my best.
Yeah, I love to touch my hair, and I know that's so bad for your hair. Like, I know it's awful, but, like, I'm constantly giving myself scalp massages and, like, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, I can't do that if I have extensions in my hair.
Yeah, and it's important, especially when you're trying to get them bald spots.
Yeah, they're not bad at all, but, like, to me, they ripped out, like, probably 10 hairs each. So, what, like, 60 hairs on each side?
Yeah, it adds up. But you know what? You notice it, and I think that's the most important thing, right? Especially when you're talking beauty or skincare or healthcare or anything. Like, if it doesn't feel good to you, don't do it.
Yeah.
Right?
And I was considering just, like, taking them out and, like, just not having the top row in, but then I was like, well, let me just take all of them out. And I did that, and I was sad. And I only had, like, 70 grams of hair, which isn't a lot, actually. That's, like, not a lot. Yeah, I'm like, why is it ripping my head out?
Yeah, but that's why we're seeing celebrities bald now, right? And they're all wearing it.
Yeah, and all these stylists say it doesn't damage your hair, but I think you do have to have a certain hair type and, like, a certain scalp to deal with that. Because even, like, having my hair in, like, braids for a couple days, not even, like, tight braids, just, like, French braids, will, like, irritate my scalp really bad.
Yeah.
So, I should have known better. Because I had tape-ins for a while, and those only lasted for, like, 3 days. Like, I can't do that either. Because I knew I didn't want wefts. I knew that I could not deal with that because I had clip-ins that I would use, and them did not dry. My hair already takes 3 hours to dry.
That's a lot.
On top of the clip-ins, no.
No.
But the extensions I just took out, they dried quicker than my hair. So, like, my hair would be soaking wet, and the extensions would be, like, dry.
Right.
Creepy. Yeah. I loved them, but they were not working for me.
They didn't love you, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, they don't like me. I'm out of questions for you. I asked everything.
Neat.
Yeah. I just want to know, like, what is it not messing with your circadian rhythm to, like, live in darkness 24 hours?
I love it. I love the dark. It's funny because everybody up here, we, like, crave for the summer, right? Because you're like, sun, so much sun, and I must be vampire or something because it's probably because I'm autistic, but, like, I love dim light and I love darkness, and I'm built different, I guess, but no, you kind of get used to it. I kind of go squirrely. Like, the higher north you go, right, the more sun you'll get for longer periods of time. And it's like the summers, I go a little bit loopy because it's like 4 a.m. and it's bright. And I'm like, and as it is, like, I'm not a good sleeper. And that's one thing Carnivore hasn't solved for me. Like, I'll be open and honest about it, but 6 doctors haven't figured it out either. I was on morphine for 3 days, and it did knock me out. So like whatever it is has nothing to do with like my hormones or nutrition. Like there's something wrong with me, I think.
Well, do you still have like good energy levels, or are you just tired all the time?
And that's why we can't figure out what's wrong with me, because I'm like this all the time unless I take certain 3 different medications.
Yeah, I have a carnivore friend, and she sleeps. She probably goes to bed around like 10, 11, 12, like pretty normal time, and then she wakes up at like 3 a.m. every day, every single day at 3 a.m. without fail.
Yeah.
And like she gets 3 hours of sleep, and she's like just like you, like perfectly energetic.
Yeah.
All day.
So, and it's unfortunately been like this since puberty. So there's probably something to do with like the neurons firing in my brain, and I'm like processing them, or I don't know what's going on. So it hasn't solved that, which is kind of a bummer. But it does make you go, yeah, the sun makes you go a little bit nuts. Because you're like, it's too much sun all the time, and your body just wants that dim light, right? But yeah, in the winters I'm fine. Like I don't miss the sky. I love it. I love the darkness.
I'm a sun person, like through and through, and I like being in my house sometimes, but like I'm an outside person like 95% of the time. Like I'm outside all the time unless I'm watching TV. But the only reason I'm inside to watch TV is because I can't see the TV outside, or else I would have a TV outside. So I'm like, I like the 90-degree weather. I like the sun. I wish we had a pool. Because my boyfriend, they have a pool, but it's got chlorine in it, and then my skin's so sensitive, I break out really easily. So I'm not going in chlorine. I haven't done that in a while. Like almost a year now, probably.
Yeah, no, chlorine's also terrible for your hair.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably why my hair is stretchy too. Because they have a hot tub, and I used to get in it like all the time. And you gotta think hot water plus chlorine, which is like basically bleach and bleached hair.
Oh yeah, I got my own things about water and like shared waters. But like chlorine, like we use it in warfare as a gas to kill people. I'm like, should I be floating in it? Probably.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Well, one of my friends has a saltwater pool, and she lives pretty close by. Especially, she lives really close to my work. But I don't go over there anymore because they're always at the beach. So I'm like, I don't want to just go to their house and use their pool when they're not there. But I'm like halfway tempted to.
I had a saltwater growing up. Like it was so good. But
Yeah.
Skin, I think that was like the years my skin was probably the best.
Yeah, and I've heard that like people who live at the beach, they're like saltwater is so good for your skin. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true or not, but maybe it's the sun and the salt water, and I feel like it would dehydrate your skin, but people tend to say it does the opposite.
Yeah, I don't know. Science.
Yeah, I don't know. So, screw science. They don't know everything.
True. So true.
Well, if you don't have any more questions, and I don't have any more questions, do you?
I don't think so.
No, this was a really good talk. Do you have a question for my audience?
I don't really have a question for your audience, but I think it's important. Well, I think it's a question they can ponder. Like, yeah, if not now, when?
Yeah.
If you're thinking about it, maybe that's a sign that you should just try it. And like 30 days flies by. 30 days is absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. And if you're considering it, you may as well try it. This isn't like it's not like getting a tattoo where you can't remove it, right? You can change your diet as much as you want, whenever you want, at any time. And if it doesn't feel good after a month, stop doing it. But you have nothing to lose at that point. Because if you're already thinking carnivore, you're already dealing with shit that you.
Yeah.
So if not.
So I guess my question for you guys to comment down below is, if you're considering carnivore, if so, are you going to start? If you're already carnivore, let me know how long. I hope you guys have a awesome and wonderful day. All right.